and welcome to the Nature Codes podcast. I'm Amira Daly, an energy healer and mentor. I deliver inspirational tips and shares on how to welcome nature into your life to inspire transformation. I will share with you guidance, tips, and interviews to nurture that special bond between you, the universe, and nature. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Nature Codes. On this episode today, we are going to be talking about human design. And so it's another tool in trying to understand yourself and how you fit in to the world around you. So we all have a purpose in life, whether that be just living your daily life a certain way or being more vocal and being a public figure. There's so many different ways that our soul has decided to incarnate on this earth, and for so many different reasons. And so finding your soul purpose, your individual soul purpose, and you will have more than one. There'll be several aspects to your soul purpose, and you're most probably living a good few of these already. And so, I have been looking into my human design as one of the tools. There's so many other tools like astrology. I did a podcast on astrology and how you can use your birth chart to look into your soul purpose and lots of other things. I think you can just check back on my podcast and see that episode, and that will give you more of like the traditional astrology view. But I found human design so incredible, and it was at the same time as I was watching a documentary on Gaia with Shetan Parkin. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And he was just so inspiring, and he was with his wife, and she was an astrologer, and they were just talking about human design, and they were relating it to soul purpose and how so many different things can change in your environment if you embrace your human design. Even bringing up your children, you might have a manifestor child who's constantly in the world manifesting, like running around. It comes across as like high energy, manifestation energy, and you're not a manifestor, and so you're struggling to cope with their energy. And it just kind of explains like the different people and how they relate to one another, and it will then give you advice on how you can manage that child who's like a big manifesting force. So there's so many different ways to relate it. You can also look at your friendships, and in human design you'll have very similar, if you're in line with each other, there'll be some aspects of your personality that lines up with your friends' aspects, and that's how you had that spark when you met, and you just instantly bonded with them because there's this similarity between your charts. In relationships, you can have activators, so your relationship should activate you in certain areas that you don't have. So say if your husband's got without explaining the whole human design, if they've got a channel that's open and you don't have that channel open, he's there in your life to help you with that part of yourself that's not open. So there's so many different ways that you can look at it, and it's just so fascinating. I'd advise to go online and download your own human design chart and have a look at it, but I'm going to take you through a few steps to really understand what human design can tell you and how to interpret your own chart a little bit. So I'm going to look at a chart that I've done recently and just like give you some tips and go through it in a step-by-step format so that we can kind of understand it a bit better. So when you first download your human design report, you should have an image of a person meditating and all of their parts and there'll be like lines linking up. It's almost like a chakra system, right? They're not completely on par with chakras, but they're almost the same, and they're called body centers. So you'll have like those shapes all around your body, and then you'll have the channels that link them up. And some are coloured, some are white, and some you'll have the gates, which are the numbers. So the gates are the numbers, and the gates that are on are coloured, and the gates that are off are uncoloured. So that is the basic knowledge of that chart. Just know what you're seeing. Down the side, you've got your conscious and unconscious part of your personality. So one side is conscious and one side is unconscious. And from my memory, I think the pink is the unconscious and the darker is the conscious. So the conscious will be parts of your personality that you are aware of. The unconscious are things that other people see in you but you aren't so aware of. And they also line up with the planets. So again, it links to astrology. This is all nature. This is our pure nature. This is how we were born. The planets, the nature around us at that specific time is how we can understand our soul purpose. So it's again linking back to nature again, you know. Our bodies are nature. The planets were in a specific formation. The energy of those planets were in a specific formation to push us forward in our soul plan. So the centers in your human design include your crown, mind, throat, heart, emotions, root, self, spleen, and your sacral center. And these are all interlinked, and it depends which gates are on, which gates are off, which connections are flowing as to how your body functions, essentially. So when you look at your human design chart, you'll see that some centers are white and some centers are coloured. The white centers mean that you are undefined in that area, and the coloured centers mean that you're defined. So there's a definition so say your crown, for an example, your crown center is white. That means you're undefined in that area, and that means you are receiving universal wisdom and you're more open to the energies around you and they're coming in through your crown. So I'm just going to list a few qualities of your undefined crown. This is, as I said, that you're open to inspiration. These can appear as pops, downloads or pops of information that come into your head. You love to be in inspiring environments in order for yourself to be inspired. However, it can leave you spinning because your crown chakra is so open, you can confuse your thoughts from others. And so it can take you along a wrong path if you're so tuned into someone else's path. You can confuse it with your own, which would mean that you would need to, as an action for that, you would need to wait to commit to any ideas. So when ideas are coming in, you've got to then make sure that these are your ideas and they're for you, not for someone else, essentially. Another example is your throat. So mine, for instance, is defined, and that shows that you have the power of expression, which hopefully I am doing on this podcast. Your throat might be linked to a specific area, and so that's then showing you where you're speaking from and where you're best speaking from. So my throat is not connected to my mind, and it's not connected to my crown. It's actually connected to my sacral. And so sacral is your gut, and it's also like your deep intuitive nature. So when I speak, the best way that I can speak is through my gut. It's through my inspiration and my inner guidance and the, I guess, intuition that I have, if I start trying to speak through my mind, my analytical area, I can't. I've noticed in this, even though I've got a science background, I found it really hard to speak about it and speak about the science. Like, I was really good at writing and, doing the actual understanding of everything. But when I chose to speak about it, I felt there was like a block there. Whereas now I feel that I'm really, really able to speak about my intuition and all of the downloads that I get. And that is really like a massive change in me, because now I understand what my throat and my voice is actually meant to be used for. So, with a defined throat, you can also see that those kind of people have cadence and confidence in their voice, and you allow these things to flow through you. You also catalyze speech in other people. So, this is especially true for me. I find that if say you're sitting on a bus, right, and someone comes and sits next to you, and their throat is undefined, they will use me as their voice. So they will talk at me. Like, I could literally be in silence, and some people will just start talking at me, and I'll just be like, I don't know where this has come from. They'll tell me all of their stuff. Like, they'll tell me all of their problems. They're so open. Like, people have said to me, I don't know how you managed, like, I've told you so much of my truth. It's because their throat is undefined, and so they're coming to me as an outlet. And you just got to be warned that sometimes when these people come to you, once they get going, they might never stop. So that's another way of, like, these are so interesting to, like, understand your life, because when you look at your design, you can see why these certain behaviours come into your being and into your life. It's really quite amazing once you get down to it. And then we have the connections, and if the connections between the centres are fully coloured, that means you have like an active channel. That's how I know that my throat is connected to my gut, because there's an active full dark line, pink or dark, it doesn't matter if it's like both. As long as it's coloured, you know that your channel is active. If it's half coloured, it's still classed as not active. And then your gates also show a different picture. If your gates are on or off, depends on what that's showing. And that's kind of a deeper level that I can't really explain on this podcast. There's so much detail in it that it's impossible to talk to you about it all. But it would be worth, if you're really interested in seeing a professional about it or reading a book, which will then outline each individual gate, because each gate is completely different. And as you can see, there's so many. But the main things are to look at your centres and what's defined and undefined. And then another thing that is a big area that you can look at is your type. And so on your report, you should see that your type should be written there. And say if you're a manifestor, as I spoke about, the child who's a manifestor, who's full of energy and buzzing around, there's quite a few different types. And so my friend's a manifestor, right? I'm a manifestor generator. So it means I've got a similar thing to the manifestor, in that once I'm at something, I go for it. I'm like fully on board. However, manifestor generators, they slowly, rather than the manifestor that goes fully at it from the gate opens and then just whoosh, I have to feel it out a little bit. So I will get to the point of when the action is supposed to happen, and I still won't be quite sure whether I'm actually going to go full pelt or not. So I'll have to slowly get to the place where I'm meant to run the marathon, for instance, and my body could just go, no, don't want to do it, and then I'm out. That's it. I can't do it. Or I could go, yes, we're on, and I just run as fast as I can to the final goal. So it's quite an interesting process of trying to understand your type and things. So that's another area that you should definitely look at. The next part I'd like to talk about is the profile. And this is a very important part of someone's personality. So there's many different profiles, and from your report you'll be able to see which numbers you are. So the first one, so the one that I'm going to concentrate on is the one that actually someone like Princess Diana had. So Princess Diana had the profile of 1/3. And so I'd just like to read an extract of this book to show you what a 1/3 profile is. You are a restless soul, so I will endeavour to make this engaging enough to retain your interest. Otherwise you'll be off in pursuit of the next stimulation in an endless search for stability and steady ground in a changeable world. Despite an introspective side, you are an engaging and down-to-earth person with a profound and personal connection to the world, unconsciously thirsty for the juice of life, eager to learn and seeking the latest, greatest and newest. As such, there is a tendency to enter into projects or relationships with an open yet inquisitive nature, forever trying to determine their quality and value before committing 100%. Herein lies a first line deep insecurity, the fear that the rug could be pulled from under your feet at any moment. When coupled with your unconscious non-committal nature of the third line, this keeps you on the hop, a cat on a hot tin roof, yet you are privately crying out for rock-solid foundations and something to hold on to. So that is kind of amazing. You can relate this completely to Princess Diana's life. If something or someone doesn't feel secure, you will find fault, express boredom, or provide any excuse to disengage and retreat, sometimes abruptly. And this goes on, so I could keep going, but this gives you a kind of an intro into human design, and it's by no means, it's a very basic intro into it. It's so complicated, it's so nuanced, you can't really get to the bottom of all of it, but it has the capabilities of really allowing you to understand yourself. Once I started to learn my human design, I understood, one, how to manifest, how to understand my manifesting energy and what makes me tick. It also allowed me to understand why I got so swayed by other people's emotions and other people's thoughts, and how to put boundaries up. I mean, the repercussions of understanding your human design are absolutely immense. It can lead you onto your soul purpose and can understand your roots better and your gut instincts. It also, an important thing is that it shows you what your yes energy is and what your no energy is. So you'll understand what happens in your body when something's a yes, you should do that, and when something's a no, you shouldn't. And so that in itself is a massive awakener, and from that alone you can kind of make soul-based decisions. And when you make soul-based decisions, you're aligning with your soul purpose. So I hope that helps kind of give you some inspiration into understanding your own human design a bit more and how it can help you. If you've got any questions or need any help with any of this, I'm here to help. I am definitely going to look into doing more of this and putting more of this on my website. So check back once I haven't published my website yet. It's massively a work in progress. So apologies for that, but I'm always on Instagram and you can contact me on there for anything. I'm also on YouTube at The Nature Code, so there you can find my light language channelings and my I'm starting to talk to camera on my Instagram as well now, so you can kind of listen to my diary if you like, and it will kind of give you inspiration into your life as well. So if you like the format of this podcast, I would definitely recommend that you follow me on Instagram. Anyway, sending so much love and light to you all. I'm so blessed to have this platform to be able to speak my Gemini mind. Really happy to help. Lots of love. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please subscribe to the Nature Codes podcast so you never miss an episode. If you enjoy what I'm sharing, please rate and leave a review so that other nature lovers can find me too. And lastly, follow me on Instagram at The Nature Codes for more inspiring free content as well as access to all of my programs.